Hello class, today we will be learning how to convert measurements to find the perimeter of a shape. We are in page 255 in our arithmetic books. Before we start converting measurements, we do have to know different facts. The first fact that you do have to know is that when finding the perimeter of a rectangle, both dimensions, the length and the width, must be in the same unit. For example, if the length of the rectangle is in yards, the width of the rectangle should also be in yards. If the length of the rectangle is in feet, the width of the rectangle should also be in feet. The next thing that you do have to remember is to either convert the measures to the greater unit or the lesser unit. But just remember that it has to be the same unit. So I do have that word must capitalized and in bold term, so you can so you know the importance of keeping the same unit. I'm going to have two different examples. The first one, I'm going to convert the measurements to the greater unit, and for the second example, I'm going to convert the measures to the lesser unit. Let's go and look at our first example. I have a rectangle with a length of 12 yards and 2 feet, and we have a width of 7 yards. So the first example, I'm going to change it to the greater unit. And my greater unit in my shape right now is yards. So I'm going to change all my measurements to yards. The only one that I have to change to yards is this 2 feet that I have over here. I do know that there's 3 feet in 1 yard. That means it's less than a yard. So the 2 feet is going to end up being a fraction. So my new length is going to be 12 and 2/3 yard. And the width is already in yards, so I don't have to do anything. So you just copy down the width, which is 7 yards. To find the perimeter of a shape, I have to add all the sides. That means I'm going to add the length twice, and then I'm going to add the width twice. So it's going to be 12 and 2/3 plus 12 and 2/3 plus 7 plus 7, because I'm trying to find the distance around the shape, and I have 2 lengths and I have 2 widths. First off, let's go ahead and add the fraction 12 and 2/3 plus 12 and 2/3. As I'm multiplying that fraction, I'm going to add the whole number first. So 12 plus 12 equals 14. If I add my numerators, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And I keep my denominator the same. It's not 14, it's going to be 24. Not 14. 12 plus 12 equals 24. I add my numerators, it's going to be 4. And I keep my denominator, it's going to be 3. So you can see my fraction is an improper fraction. So I'm going to change my improper fraction to a proper fraction by dividing the numerator by the denominator. So my new fraction is going to be 25 and 1/3. Then I still have the 7 plus 7, so I have to add the 7 plus 7. So 7 plus 7 equals 14. And let's go ahead and add those two numbers. 25 plus 14 equals 39. And copy down the fraction, which is 1/3. That is not my final answer though, because I have no measurement, I have no label, so I have to label my final answer. How will I label the perimeter of a rectangle? I write down P equals, which stands for perimeter, equals 39 and 1/3, and write down the measurement. We were using yards, so my measurement is going to be yards. So that is whenever I change my measurements to the greater unit. The next example is going to be whenever I change it to the lesser unit. I'm using the same rectangle and I'm using the same measurements. I do know just by looking at those measurements that my smallest measurement, my lesser unit, is going to be feet. So my goal is to change all my measurements to feet. So I have to change the 12 yards to feet, and I have to change the 7 yards to feet. There are 3 feet in 1 yard, so I'm going to multiply 12 times 3. That's going to be 36. Remember to still add that 2 feet, so I'm going to add plus 2, giving me an answer of 38 feet. So my new length of the rectangle is going to be 38 feet. Looking at my width is 7 yards. I have to change it to feet. So I'm going to multiply 7 times 3. 7 times 3 equals 21 yards. Not 21 yards, 21 feet. And that's going to be my new width, 21 feet. To find the perimeter, I have to add all the sides. That means I'm going to add the length 2 times, and then I'm going to add the width 2 times. So it's going to be 38 plus 38 plus 21 plus 21. If you want to do that mentally, you can pause my video and find the answer, and then you can resume my video whenever you have the answer. But the perimeter of the shape is P equals 118 feet. As you can see, I did label my final answer by writing down P equals, that means perimeter equals, and I wrote down my final measurement, which was feet.